Welcome to 5 Good Minutes.
You're listening to today's inspirational message, looking at the Messianic Psalms with Brady Randall.
Well, today we're continuing in Psalm 69, which is a psalm of lament offered by King David. And it's a psalm that's quoted frequently throughout the New Testament. Do you ever have this experience where you have an interaction with someone, maybe somebody that you know, or maybe even a stranger, where they seem totally crabby or in a bad mood? And you think to yourself, what in the world is wrong with that person? Why are they so mopey or depressed? Or maybe a more crude way to express it is, what crawled up there behind? Today we see more of the picture of why David is in such a desperate situation. Yesterday we saw that he was desperate because of his enemies. Verse 4, it said that those who hated him without reason were looking to destroy him. And today we see two more reasons why he feels this way: because of his own sinfulness and the fact that his sin and shame can have a negative effect on others. It's one thing to mess up and suffer consequences for our own doing, but it's a whole nother next level thing when your mistakes have consequences for others. Verse 5, it says this: "You, God, know my folly. My guilt is not hidden from you." Here David's admitting that he is not a perfect man, and God knows this better than anybody. And I think there's some real wisdom here in admitting to ourselves, and more importantly to God, what God already knows, that I myself, that you play a role, and we add to the brokenness of our own life and the brokenness of the world around us. And just admitting and knowing that God sees all of our stuff is a wake-up call, but it's also very freeing to be able to get this off of our chest. But it gets extra difficult when we see the effect that our own sin and shame can have on others. Verse 6 says this: "Lord, the Lord Almighty, may those who hope in you not be disgraced because of me. God of Israel, may those who seek you not be put to shame because of me." And you see this idea all the time. You see this in sports teams as well. You can also see it in parenting. In football, if just one player messes up, it can mess up the entire team. And if you're a Steelers fan for the past couple of years, you know that we've not had the most prolific offense in football. And maybe if you're watching the game, you find yourself saying, man, the whole offense stinks. Get a whole batch of players, get some new coaches. But what's interesting to me is that when you listen to the experts who break down the film after the game on Sunday, what you find is that sometimes there's only one offensive player that misses his assignment, and therefore the entire play is broken down by just one player. The quarterback is sacked because one offensive lineman missed a block. The receiver would have had a touchdown, but he ran the wrong route. One player misses an assignment and it affects the entire team. And imagine if you were that player watching back the game film. You know, the coaches know, your teammates know the cold, hard truth. And there can be a sense of shame for seeing how your actions affected the entire team. I mean, this happens in parenting as well. And most parents know how flawed that they are. And parenting is extremely humbling. But what makes parenting especially humbling is when your words or action lead your child to do something that dishonors the Lord. I don't know if you've ever had that experience. Maybe you heard a very young child using cuss words. And on the one hand, it might be kind of funny to someone who's watching that, but most parents feel the weight of guilt and shame when they realize that the child heard those words from them. And here David is crying out, please don't let anyone who hopes in you be put to shame because of me. But David here is also pleading that he'll be able to endure for God's sake. Listen to these words starting in verse 7. "For I endure scorn for your sake, and my shame covers my face. I'm a foreigner to my own family and a stranger to my own mother's children. For zeal your house consumes me, and the insults of those who insult you fall on me. When I weep and fast, I must endure scorn. When I put on sackcloth, people make sport of me. Those who sit at the gate mock me, and I am the song of drunkards." Here, David is describing actions of humility that he's taken in obedience to God that invokes scorn from those around him, even his own family. And this can feel especially difficult when others around you are mocking you, particularly for your faith. And what we'll see in coming days is how Jesus himself embodies this psalm, how he, on his way to the cross, was willing to undergo shame and scorn when those around him made sport of him. And if that's you right now, or that ever will be you, or if you can imagine that scenario, that if you would give your life to fully devoting it to Jesus, and then look to the one who knows and who is willing to be shamed on your behalf, what a difference that would make. And so today I want to encourage you to look to the one who knows your folly and your guilt and took it upon himself. For Jesus promises that any sacrifice that you and I make is only temporary for what he offers for eternity.
Thanks for joining us here today. There's a lot of great content to explore on Orchard Hill Plus and on the Orchard Hill main feed from the weekend. Have a great day.